MATAIODOXIA is actually really good and caught me by surprise. I kind of just picked this exotic after finishing the legendary campaign because, well, I didn't really like either option, but my god, I'm glad I picked this one. This comboed in with the Prismatic build that I initially made for Apotheosis is absolutely insane and fixes the long melee cooldown issues that it could have sometimes. Now before we get into the video, if you guys do enjoy the content, a like and sub would be greatly appreciated. We just hit 2,000 subs just a few days ago, so thank you guys so much, seriously. So, MATAIODOXIA is a new strand-focused exotic chess piece for Warlock, and its exotic perk is called Stylosticus, I think, where targets damaged by an arcane needle emit a suspending detonation when defeated, and landing all 3 arcane needles on the same target triggers a larger, more powerful detonation. And let me tell you guys right now that the explosion has some insane radius that really surprised me. And the other huge part of this exotic is that we will also be getting melee energy back on defeating suspended targets, which is really helpful with builds that just need good ability uptime. And if this wasn't enough, your arcane needles will also stun anti-barrier champions, which is really useful. Honestly, the best part of the exotic is the fact that you only need to damage enemies with the melee, not even kill them for the suspending explosion, meaning that any type of kill will pop the suspension as long as they were hit by an arcane needle beforehand. They even will show a symbol over them to notify you who has been hit by it, and trust me, it'll be hard to miss. And this is really useful when you're trying to hit all 3 on a target for a big explosion. Now the build we're going to be utilizing will be similar to the one from my last Prismatic Warlock build, but now with an extra layer of crowd control and some good melee regen. So we're going to be on a Prismatic Warlock using Song of Flame, with the abilities Phoenix Dive to use alongside Helion to spawn in our Solar Buddy, Arcane Needle to synergize with the exotic chest piece, and for building up our Darkness meter as well, and then Storm Grenades because that plus Facet of Dominance is so damn strong, and of course will also build up your light meter pretty much instantly. The other aspects used in this build alongside Helion is going to be Devour, because what's better than an ability spam build than just free instant healing on every kill. Plus the added bonus of having what feels like infinite uptime on your Storm Grenades thanks to Devour having just intrinsic demo. The other fragments used in this build are going to be Facet of Balance, so when we get multiple light defeats we gain melee energy, and multiple dark defeats we gain grenade energy. This one is very helpful in having good melee uptime since getting multi-kills with our Storm Grenade is very easy. Next is Facet of Hope for increased class ability regen when having an elemental buff, which you should be able to have up always with Devour. Next is Facet of Awakening, rapidly defeating targets with the light or darkness damage will spawn an elemental pickup, matching that element of the thing you killed it with. This is really cool in combination with this build, since you can spawn in every single possible pickup. These will be really helpful in some extra ability uptime, plus spawning entangles for even something like the Call, which I'll explain why in a little bit. Now the last one's going to be Facet of Dominance for a damage boost to your light abilities versus enemies affected by a darkness debuff. Now the other one I listed before, Facet of Dominance, I wanted to remind everyone that it works with Warlock's Transcendence Grenade and will weaken enemies, so in my opinion, it's a must pick in all Prismatic Warlock builds. I'll leave on screen the whole subclass UI so you can kind of see all the abilities, fragments, aspects, super, and everything, because I know Prismatic builds can sometimes be a little info dump, so it might be just better to see everything all together. Now the mods we're going to be using is going to be a Siphon for whatever primer you prefer, and then Ashes to Assets plus Hands-On on the helmet, so we can get some big super gains from all the ability spam we will be doing, allowing for some crazy fast super uptime. On the gloves, we're going to be doing triple firepower, because we will be spamming our grenades so often that having a 1-second cooldown will be very beneficial in just spamming orbs. For the chest piece, just use whatever resist mods you want, totally up to you. For the boots, I'm rocking double surges matching my heavy, and then a recuperation for extra heals from orbs, but you can really put in just another surge if you want instead, since Devour is already good enough in giving constant heals. Now for the class item, Outreach for a little extra melee bump on Phoenix Dive, Reaper for an orb on weapon kills after Phoenix Diving, and then lastly Power for Attraction to pull in orbs when we use our Phoenix Dive. Now onto the artifact, which can have some really fun interactions with this build. Now the first being when using Arcane Needle to spawn in a tangle, or after getting multi-kills with the Call to spawn in a tangle. While having Threaded Blast, if you shoot it with a strand weapon, it'll cause a way larger and higher damaging explosion, and it's pretty damn good, man. We've had this mod in the past before, and if you haven't tried it, I really recommend it because it is extremely strong. Now we're also going to be using Elemental Siphon, so our Solar Primary can spawn in Fire Sprites for even more grenade uptime. In the third column, we're going to be taking all of the Prismatic focused ones, Void Hegemony for an overshield when defeating enemies with our Transcendent grenades, Radiant Orbs to grant Radiant on orb pickups, and then Galvanic Armor for extra damage resist when we become amplified, which we can easily do from getting multi-kills with grenades, and then also Ionic Traces as well. Now the two in the final column will be Shield Crush for increased melee and grenade damage plus regen to the both of them from having both a light buff and then a dark buff, which will be easy to have both up during Transcendence. And then the last one is going to be Transference for that extra grenade and melee damage during Transcendence. The extra part granting meter gains after it's over from getting weapon final blows it's okay. I mean, it's a nice little buff, but it's pretty underwhelming how much you actually will get back. And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a waste to just spam your weapons instead of using the abilities, which are really strong. Now, lastly, the weapons for this build. Personally, I recommend utilizing the Call plus Sunshot and really whatever heavy you want. But you can honestly mix and match how you please because this build just works on its own without any specific weapons. But I do highly recommend using a strand weapon somewhere in there for the tangle explosions because it is a very noticeable difference. This was already my favorite Warlock build in the game currently, and I thought only the class items could make it better, but I really did not see the true potential of MATAIODOXIA. And it's become one of my favorite exotics in the game. I just love the extra CC potential it can add to an already super potent build, and then adding in that little extra layer of getting some good melee energy back when defeating suspended enemies is just so nice. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate all the support over the past week. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for getting this channel to almost 2,100 subs now. You guys are the best. See y'all in the next one. Peace.